Hey there everyone. So DeepSeek has released DeepSeek version 3.2 experiment. So this is a new model which actually seems to introduce a new kind of attention layer called DeepSeek Sparse Attention DSA. So what is this and how does it benefit this model and how does this model compare to Claude Opus 4.1? We'll be having a look at that. So without further ado, let's get started. First off, if we actually look at the benchmarks, we can have a comparison between DeepSeek version 3.1 Terminus and DeepSeek version 3.2. If you look at the scores, it doesn't seem like there is any improvement, and the model performs on par or slightly worse than DeepSeek version 3.1 Terminus. So what is so special about this? Well, actually, this new DSA, DeepSeek Sparse Attention layer that they are using seems to significantly reduce the cost. You can have a look at these two graphs and you can see initially DeepSeek seems to be pricier, but as the conversation length increases and more tokens are utilized, you can see the gap between these two models seems to increase significantly. For example, at 64k tokens, you can see DeepSeek version 3.1 Terminus requires 35 cents, whereas on the other hand, DeepSeek version 3.2 just requires somewhere around 15 cents. And this gap seems to increase more and more as the context length increases. So this you can just have a look at the slope. It has changed drastically. And that is the reason they have cut the API prices by 50%. You can have a look at the previous and the current pricing. It is absolutely insane. The model was already cheap and now it's even more cheaper. Especially look at the output pricing. It is significantly cheaper than what it was before. But keeping all that aside, how does this model compare against Claude Opus 4.1, which has been a benchmark when it comes to raw coding performance and vibe coding stuff? So you can see I have the DeepSeek chat interface and I have LM Arena with Claude Opus 4.1 16K selected towards my right. So let's throw a bunch of questions to these models and see how they perform. So let's try our first question. Create code for an SVG of a pelican riding a bicycle as nicely as you can. So I've seen many people in the AI community actually testing this question on various models. So I thought why not give it a try with these models. Okay, we are done. Towards our left, we have DeepSeek version 3.2 and towards our right, we have Opus 4.1. Clearly, you can see that Opus response seems more coherent and closer to what we actually want. The legs are kind of distorted. Also, the cycle is not implemented correctly, but the beak, the eyes and stuff seem good. We also have clouds and a sun. Whereas on the other hand, if we look at DeepSeek version 3.2, these tires don't look like actual tires and also the cycle is not implemented correctly. It is kind of okay, but comparing with Opus 4.1, it doesn't stand a chance. So we'll give this win to Opus 4.1. Let's move on to another question. Next up, we are asking, build the absolute best implementation of a Super Mario game in a web page without using any external assets and in one single code. So let's send this and let's see what they come up with. Okay, everyone, we have the responses. So let's actually look at Opus 4.1. This is to our right and you can look at my cursor. So you can see I'm able to move the Mario. The coins are there. We also have sound. I hope you guys are able to hear it. But the enemies are not moving. I am able to take power up and grow in size. Okay, now we have moving enemies, but they are not on the ground. They are in the air. We also have a flag. I think if we cross it, we will be winning. So if I cross, we win. I think we move on to the next board. So it doesn't seem to be another board, but we just replay the game with the scores continuing instead of getting reset. Having said that, let's move on to DeepSeek version 3.2. So towards our left, we have DeepSeek version 3.2 Super Mario Start Game. Let's hit Start Game and you can see we have a Mario and we have coins to collect. We have clouds and the sun as well. The enemies are moving. One is stuck in the air and it says congratulations, you have collected all the coins. I think we can do an improvement on these two. Let's come up with the second iteration. Okay, we have got the updated response. So let's look at Opus first. So you can see Super Mario Web and it is kind of a screen like interface. If I hit enter, you can see I can start the game. I'm able to move, but I think there is an issue. You can see I'm able to glide a bit farther. And also, I think I went into the pipe or something. I'm not able to see the Mario. So it has some kind of issues over here and there. You can see I'm able to, jump very long distances. See, in one jump I'm able to go from here to here. So that is not how the real game works. So we'll keep that aside and let's actually try DeepSeek. So it says Super Mario Web Edition Start Game. We have clouds, land and Mario over there. He has eyes and mouth as well. So we also have coins. There is no audio, I guess. Comparatively, it looks actually better. So we are able to move to next level. The enemies are also moving. So when given a second chance, actually DeepSeek has done a very good performance. So I would give this win to DeepSeek. Let's move on to another question. So this is our next question. You are a web developer. You have to code a single HTML, CSS and JS landing page for your client. He is a gamer and a streamer. He wants a web page that reflects his profession. So create the best implementation that fully grasps this persona of a gamer. Do this in one single code. So let's send this to both of them and let's see what they do. So we have kept the prompt kind of open-ended and ambiguous, so they are open to, pick any path they want, and they can go with a complete environment or a generic landing page. Okay everyone, we have the responses from both models. Starting off with Opus 4.1 towards our right. So I'll turn this into full screen so that we can appreciate the website. You can see it says Nexus on the top. We have the navigation bar, and you can see if I hover on any navigation icons, you can see it kind of glows in a CRT green. Like in the very center we have the Nexus icon, and if you look closely, it has that red and blue color glitch effect, which is kind of a typical theme with gamers. We have particles that are kind of going upwards. We have watch live view schedule, and if I hover over them, you can see they kind of glow. If we move down, we have gaming stats, and when I hover over them, you can see some animations happening. I particularly like this one. You can see, these cards based on where my cursor is, it is shining that particular part. So I like this one. It says connect with me, and we have various buttons over here which kind of resemble a gamepad. All in all, not a very complex website over here, but it is a gaming themed one, good for a single try. Having said that, let's move on to our left side and let's look at DeepSeek. So this is what DeepSeek has generated. It says Nexus Gamer. We have home, about, games, schedule, contact, follow on Twitch. You can see it has tried to implement this live now kind of banner, but it is obstructing the main hero element. If we move down, it says about the streamer. It gives information. 5 years of streaming experience. I have built a community of a dedicated gamers. It also has some featured games. Cyberpunk 2077, Valorant and Elden Ring. We have stream stats. You can look at the stream schedule. We have the days, and the timing for each day. If you go down, you can see we have the Twitch icon, YouTube icon, Twitter, Instagram and Discord icon. This is very nice actually. If we actually look into Claude's response, we can see even here we have games mentioned: Valorant ranked, CSGO tournament, variety night. So it is kind of hard to say which one is better. Both do a good job. So we could go with either of them, but I think personally Opus 4.1's response actually is more complete. The reason is, if I turn this into full screen, you can see this element is actually covering up the hero section, which shows that it was not kind of generated properly. On the other hand, the subtle elements that Opus has, this glow effect behind each card, and writing Twitter with T, YouTube with Y, Discord, X and Instagram shows some creativity. So personally, I would say Opus is better, but you could go either way because it is a close call. So next we're asking, create the best possible 3D flight simulator game in a web page with chase camera view and 3D environment. Give your best implementation in one single code. So let's see what they do. Okay, we have the responses from both models, guys. Let's actually look at Opus first. So I'll preview this and I'll actually turn this into full screen. And okay, this is what we have. The plane also has wings. We also have 3D clouds. You can see I'm also able to turn this plane. If I hit shift, you can actually see the blades are starting to move fast. I think that is the throttle, and yeah, it does look awesome. Opus is the only model which is actually consistently able to give us a working response. Having said that, let's actually try DeepSeek. So it says start flight. We'll have to move this into full screen. Let's say start flight, and okay, I think something is moving, but I'm not able to see the plane actually, and there is no visible ground and sky because everything is black. Other objects like trees and clouds and buildings are visible, but let's do one thing. Since DeepSeek is very cheap, right? We'll give it another chance. I mean, giving Opus another chance is pointless because it is already perfect and there's nothing wrong which we need to improve. But I want to give another chance to DeepSeek. Will not count this as a point, but I want to see what it is able to do. So I'll give a second iteration to DeepSeek. Okay, we have got the updated response from DeepSeek. So let's actually preview this in a new page, and this is what we have. If I hit start flight, you can see I'm able to move the flight. It says up to throttle, and it has tried to implement a plane, but I don't think it looks like that. Also, there is no difference between the sky and the ground. Everything is blue, although better than what it gave previously, but it's not as good as what Opus has given. Opus has actually given us a complete working response. So even in its second iteration, it was not able to beat Opus 4.1. So this is a clear win for Opus 4.1. Let's move on to the next question. So now we'll be asking Python based problems. So you can have a look at the prompt. We are asking it to write a Python code for a hollow circle with an opening. There are two balls inside it, and whenever a ball exits, two new balls appear. So this is kind of an animation which you might have seen in, many reels or in TikTok. So let's send this to both and let's see how they perform. Okay, everyone, we have got the responses. Let's start off with Opus 4.1. I'll paste the code and I'll run it. We don't see any kind of errors and I hope it should run. Okay, we have two balls and you can see balls kind of exiting and new balls appearing. They are a bit bouncy. Okay, now it is kind of broken. You can see balls are also visible outside, which should not have happened. And also it crashed. So let's keep that aside and let's actually try DeepSeek. So we'll paste the code. We don't see any kind of errors yet. Let's run this. Okay, we have two balls and you can see one ball exits and two new balls appear. So it is clearly very good and let's wait for a while to see if anything goes wrong. Actually guys, I have waited for a while and you can see the number of balls is not incrementing. It is staying at 10. One of the reasons could be that whenever a ball exits only one new ball appears instead of two. So the number doesn't increment. So this is an error. So both have errors. Let's actually come up with the second iteration. Okay everyone, we have got the responses. So let's actually start off with Opus. We'll paste the code and we'll run it. You can see we have two balls and this is of different sizes. One ball is exiting and two new balls are appearing. Let's see what happens when a lot of balls have actually collected. So now you can see many balls are generated but still it is working fine. So that is nice. It was able to fix its issue and let's move on to DeepSeek. We'll copy the code. We'll paste that and okay, we do see an error. Let's run this and you can see that doesn't work. So it is unfortunately a fail for DeepSeek. So now let's move on to another question. Write a Python program that simulates Earth's rotation. So let's see what they do. Okay everyone, we have got the responses. So let's start off with Opus. We'll paste the code and we don't see any kind of errors. Let's run this and okay, it did run. We do see a spear and kind of halo effect around it which represents the atmosphere in my opinion, and the land masses and oceans are not represented correctly and now it crashed. So it was running for a while but it crashed. Let's see what DeepSeek has come up with. So we'll copy the code, we'll paste that and we'll run it. Okay, we do see a black screen and it's gone. So again an error. So I think we'll have to go with second iteration on both models. Let's see what they do. Okay, we have got the updated responses from both models. So let's look at Opus 4.1. Let's run this. Okay, so now you can see it looks way better than what it was before. We also have the moon moving. We have the day and night cycles. It does look quite good to me. We can see the land masses and stuff. Let's see what else we can do. We can toggle atmosphere and we can zoom in and zoom out as well. And actually it was running a bit jittery previously. So I said that, please fix that. So it has introduced a quality mode. Now it's currently running at low quality. If I hit Q, it changes into medium and it can also go into high. So now you can see we are in high mode and it is actually getting stuck a bit. So a nice response. Let's keep this aside and let's try DeepSeek's response. So we'll paste the code and we don't see any kind of errors. Let's run it. I hope it works this time. And okay, we do have an earth and a moon. So I think we kind of have a top view over here and you can, if you look closely, the earth is not moving, but this light which is present at the top is actually moving. Also, I think the moon has to be in the opposite side. It's in the day side. Instead, it should have been in the night side. But all in all, it is a working response, guys. Just few months back, many models were not able to get it right, and now every other model seems to be getting this question right. It is nice to see improvements. So I think personally, Opus is slightly better simply because it is actually smoother and also, the Earth actually rotates instead of just the day and night cycle kind of rotating and every landmass being in its position. It's actually easy to just put an image and just have lights rotating. So that is kind of an implementation that DeepSeek has taken. So I'll give this win to Opus 4.1. Now we are asking them to create state-of-the-art Pac-Man game in Python. Let's see how they do. Okay, we have got the responses. Let's look at Opus 4.1. We'll paste the code and we'll run it. Okay, we do see Pac-Man. You can see it stays visible for quite a while and then Pac-Man kind of disappears. In some places it is visible, in some places it is not visible. Now I've completely lost track of it. Okay, the Pac-Man is over here. So this needs to be fixed. Let's look at DeepSeek's response. We'll paste it and we'll run it. Okay, we do have Pac-Man. It is very fast, but it is a working code. So both need improvement. I think DeepSeek's response was actually a bit better. Let's see the second iteration. Okay everyone, we have got the updated responses. So let's start off with Opus first. We'll paste the code and we'll run it. Okay, it says WASD to move. I can also use the arrow keys. Let's see what happens when I eat a pellet. The ghost kind of froze, and you can see they are not following me. They have entered the box that where they stay, and they are not following me. Let me actually kind of go behind them. So you can see they just try to get into their box, and they just don't follow me. I do like the sound effects and all, yeah, but it has this issue. You can see I'm just kind of moving around them, but they are not following me. So let's keep this aside and let's look at DeepSeek. So let's paste the code and let's run it. Okay, we have the Pac-Man, and let's try to play. So I think it is a bit faster than what Claude 4.1 Opus gave us. You can see the Pac-Man is not correctly aligned. If I go this path, it is correctly aligned, but have a look at this. It is not correctly aligned. Also, again, here as well, the ghosts are not following us. They are just randomly moving here and there. They are also not following the walls. So again, comparatively, I think Opus 4.1 is better over here, but I will give a fail to both of them because both didn't give me a satisfactory response, and previously Opus 4.1 was able to, so I will give a 0 to both of them. So what can we say? Clearly, this model is very cheap, guys, very cheap. If you talk about the input pricing, it is 80 times cheaper compared to Opus 4.1, and when you talk about output pricing, it is 180 times cheaper. So very big difference, guys. But even though having this much big difference, it is able to give good responses. The new DeepSeek sparse attention layer seems to do wonders. And guys, you have to remember that as the conversation length increases, the gap between these two models, the actual usage pricing will be even higher. We are just comparing the per million input output pricing, but as the conversation length increases, Opus is going to be way more costlier, but that will not reflect to end consumers like us, but it will be efficient for the company itself to run the model. But anyways, that has enabled DeepSeek to do a 50% price cut on an already cheap model, that is DeepSeek version 3.1. It is so good to see. I do wonder when Anthropic is going to decrease the pricing of Opus model, because clearly it is very good, but it is not usable. I've said this in my previous video as well when I was comparing it with GPT-5 Codex. It is a very good model, but it is very pricey and unusable. So I hope this video gives you an idea to understand where DeepSeek lands and if it is actually useful or not. If you find this video helpful, please do hit the like button and hype this video so that more and more people are able to know about this new model, and that will also really help my channel as well. With that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one.